All right, everybody, welcome back to the Purple Friday Show, episode 239. How was your week, man? Let's just start with you. How was your week?
Man, I'll tell you this, man. It's been a busy week, but the weather is nice, man. I decided to come out here and pod from outside, get taking
Yeah,
this nice weather. It's been a
I'm,
while
I'm,
since I felt warm.
and today's the first day of spring. So
Yeah,
there you go. Today's the first day
go
of
get
spring.
go get your free readers.
So yeah, for all y'all, like it's patio weather, rooftop weather, all that stuff. Like brunching on the weekends if you can, all that stuff. My week was interesting. I had the neurovirus, so I caught
Oh,
that. Yeah, so I was down for like 3 days. And then my wife and son got they got a, they didn't get the full brunt of what I got, but they got a little
mhm.
bit of it. So nothing like that put them down for like a few days, but still, my whole household jacked up. So that's been our week. I've had stomach bugs before, but they said it was going around. The norovirus was going around, but man,
That's going around. The flu's going around. I saw like something where like this one school had like 200 kids with the flu, like in PG County. So it's
yeah,
rough times.
we said like, look, the pandemic was going to be rough for everybody, even the lasting effects because we weren't outside for a whole year. So we you got to think there was like a whole year where our bodies didn't contract a lot of that stuff. So it's hitting us. It's hitting us hard. Pause. It's hitting us, but it's hitting us like it's like the first
Starting already.
contact with the flu, first contact with like neurovirus or people catching, all that the common cold, all that stuff we haven't had for about a year. And it's just like I feel like people are dealing with COVID a lot more easier now because we people have been contracting it over the last couple of years versus the flu and stuff. So everybody just stay hydrated, stay inside if you can. Again, the weather is getting warmer, so hopefully some of this stuff is behind us and we can push forward and like I said, be outside in nice weather.
Outside, beautiful weather.
So free agency is over. It was so I asked this since I guess the implementation of this, I guess, tampering period, whatever you want to call it. Even though that Tuesday was the official start of free agency, Monday is really when all the contracts are done. Like all the contracts were pretty much done by like close to like 11 p.m. that night on Monday. We saw all the Myles Garrett news and the trades happened. There were trades even before that happened. Guys that were still in the contract of other teams got traded. And then by the time Tuesday came, it was like, okay, that's kind of it. It's over. It's done. Free agency used to be a drawn out thing for a couple of days, right? It would be just leaked information over a few hours, and this big news would pop up, this big name would pop up, and now it's just like within 3
48
hours,
hours
and
and you're done.
it's over. It's
Out
done.
of here.
So, for the Ravens, obviously their biggest one was just keeping Ronnie Stanley. That was the biggest news for them. I've seen a lot of grades come out for the Ravens, and a lot of people, were giving them A pluses for the fact that they were able to sign Ronnie Stanley. It was I think he got is it 20 million annual average? I think he's getting, which
Yeah,
he
three
would have
3 years,
gotten.
60.
He would have gotten way. They've already said his market value on free agency he would have gotten way more. So the fact that the Ravens were able to sign him before all the stuff went down, and considering all the stuff that would happen with Ronnie Stanley and his ankle and having to get surgery redone and all this other stuff, and I think just the faith between the two parties, between Ronnie Stanley, his agent, and the Baltimore Ravens, getting a deal done for a team friendly deal for the most part. Especially seeing the fact that the Chiefs went and traded Joe Tooney to the Bears, already seeing that their offensive line is already in shambles right now, and now they're going to be even bigger issues for them. I don't think they made any significant free agent signings on that offensive line, so they're going to be pretty much very reliant on the draft at this point, and maybe somebody pops up. It's a June 1 cut or something like that, but right now, Ronnie Stanley getting short up there. You got Voorhees now, left guard. You got Linderbaum. I'm not sure what the right guard situation is. That still could be fleshed out, I guess. And then you still got Rosengarten on the right tackle. So for the most part, you got solid line going into next year. Maybe they fill in the right guard position with, there's still, I think it's, what's his name is still out there. He was with the Jets. Who he used to be, Zeitler. I think Zeitler's still out there. If the
Yeah, I think
Ravens
he
win
was
the,
looking at the Jets or the Dolphins or the Saints. It was one of those teams, but
I think he's still out there if they're willing to bring him back for a veteran minimum deal. But also the Ravens getting DeAndre Hopkins, obviously signing him to a team friendly deal. A lot of people were kind of poo pooing it, saying this is the graveyard for this. Ravens are the graveyard for most teams and most wide receivers. But I don't think that's the same situation with DeAndre though. I don't think
yeah,
that's the same situation with DeAndre. What do you think about that one?
yeah. Real quick, I did want to say Zeitler actually just signed with the Titans for 1 year, $9 million.
Okay.
So teams are overspending in free agency. I'll say that. Shout out to the Ronnie Stanley deal because to get him at that price, we won free agency just off of that. Yeah. Then when you throw in DeAndre Hopkins at that salary, when you're seeing receivers with less accomplishments, suspect numbers, and they're going out here and they're getting these high $20 million contracts, and we got DeAndre Hopkins for what was it, $6 million? Mm-hmm. Was it $6-7 million?
Yeah,
that's a steal, and he has a lot in the tank. I mean, if you see him last year with the Chiefs, it takes a while to get integrated into that offense. There's a lot of stuff with it. A lot of guys who come into that offense take a while. Like the guys that really succeed early are those like quick athletic guys who, they can do like the quick sweeps with. Like you're thinking of an Xavier Worthy. He doesn't run a lot of the route tree. He just gets a lot of quick screens and jet sweeps. But a guy like DeAndre Hopkins, who's that's not his game. He's a true X wide receiver. It takes him a while to get integrated in that offense, but he still made big plays throughout the season for them. He made a lot of plays. So while he didn't have the huge numbers, adjusting, injuries, what have you, I mean, he still showed he will still take the top off of defense. And he did that multiple times. And you think about Christmas Day against the Steelers, he showed up so many times for that team. And I think he's going to be a valuable asset. Think about what we have here. We have a productive Hall of Fame wide receiver who's coming in not to be our one, but our three. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Our Nelson Aguilar. But it's going to mean so much to the offense because it allows Bateman to get more reps in the slot. It allows Zay to get more reps in the slot because DeAndre is a true X receiver. So it's going to open up opportunities for other people. So even though he may not get 1,000 yards, and if you're expecting him to get 1,000 yards with the Ravens next year, like, what are you even thinking? Like, that's not the expectation. But the expectation is for him to be productive, to make contested catches, to be a red zone target. So I think that's what you're looking for with DeAndre. So when you think about all that he'll bring and the versatility he'll bring to this offense, that's an A+ signing.
Yeah, I think that, like you said, I mean, just having him on the field because of how good he is as being a possession receiver. And that's kind of what I told people. I was like, DeAndre's going to be that guy when it's 3rd and 5, 3rd and 4 or whatever. And they just got to have a first down. Like, and need a guy to get open. Like, that's going to be him. That's going to be DeAndre. And like you said, it's going to be because of how well Bateman played towards the end of the year. Zay, going to be healthy as well. You can't double anybody. Like if you leave anybody one-on-one, it's going to be a problem. And if you try to double, Bateman, that leaves obviously Zay and DeAndre one-on-one. If DeAndre is going up against a third string cornerback, in anybody's team, he's gonna cook them up. Like it's not even gonna be fun. It's not gonna be funny. Like, so I think I do think getting him in the system early, getting him down to Florida with Lamar and getting that rapport there, and just having somebody to trust. Just like I said, like having him as an upgrade over Aguilar is a good signing in general. And Aguilar, fit his role well, but down the stretch, we can't really rely on him come playoff time. And the Ravens are trying to find, at this point now, we got to solve for the Ravens. It's solving the playoff problem. They've solved the regular season problem. We know what this Ravens team can do. We've seen them after bye weeks. We saw this even this past season when they went through that gauntlet, right, of Thursday, that was a Thanksgiving weekend game, the Christmas game, and all these big games, and they ran through everybody like nothing. It was nothing. The problem for the Ravens is solving the issues in the playoffs. Do we have the people, the personnel to get it done on these gotta have it plays on third down, or staying on the field, making sure we convert these third or fourth down and shorts, things like that. I think having a guy like DeAndre is only going to help you. And look, it's still, even though Bateman's in his fourth year, Rosé's going into his third. This is having a guy who's been, what was it, 1 year, I think, for DeAndre, he didn't drop one pass that was targeted to him. Like every throw that he put his hands on, he brought the ball in. Like he didn't. That was like he's one of the most consistent receivers in the NFL. And if anybody can help, I think somebody posted a video. Like as DeAndre can help these receivers not jump at balls like they come right at their chest. like Zay and Bateman do that constantly. The ball's like right here, and they're like jumping midair, trying like, what are you doing? Like, come on, like just catch the ball, catch the ball and run. That gives you an extra 5 or 6 yards there. So.
And the underrated thing is, we love
Mm-hmm.
our wide receivers to be able to do what? Block.
Yeah.
And DeAndre Hopkins is an excellent blocker. He'll get physical with you. He's not a soft guy. So, pause. So he'll be out there. He'll be blocking in the running game. So that'll open up a lot more because we know, Zay he's not a big blocker. And Rashad, he does okay. But putting Hopkins out there is really just going to help, especially when we're doing those toss plays, those stretch power runs, getting to the outside. I think that's going to help our offense even more there. I mean, I don't think there's anything I dislike, because even if you talk about the age, you look at the price. So this signing is just all upside.
Yeah, and it's like I know a lot of people when guys start bouncing around teams, as you start to assume that they're just washed. But his situation was, I think what was it, after the Deshaun Watson stuff happened with Houston and stuff, and then he goes on to, was it Tennessee first? I think he went to Tennessee first.
Yep.
And then he gets traded from there to Kansas City midseason. Obviously, trying to get acclimated to that system. And when you get traded mid-season like that, it's hard for anybody to get acclimated mid-season. We saw a lot of trades. We saw Marshawn Lattimore with the Commanders, barely even played. I think he played like one game all season for them after getting traded. So getting traded mid-year is always difficult for anybody. But having him in the getting ready for mini camp and OTAs and all that stuff, and he can get his report down with Lamar and the other wideouts and stuff, it's going to be real good for this team going forward. Now, looking forward to, I think like Corey said, we did see, there was rumor going around that there was some talk of the Ravens potential, or at least had him on the mark. We're taking calls for Mark Andrews, and it potentially could have gotten a deal done this past Monday. For whatever, I don't know, it was a second round pick and maybe a player, or second round pick and a future pick next year. But the Ravens end up picking up his roster bonus, but that does not mean that he still won't get traded. Now, from what we see, what the Ravens need, they still need edge rushing help. You can't rely on Van Noy, old, Rip Van Noy, as I call him right now. You can't count on old man Rip Van Noy, to keep, at this point, to have career years for you. He's getting older, at this point. And guys like Darius Smith is still out there. Matt Judon is still out there. Obviously, you're still expecting something from Oweh, still expecting something from Ajabo, Adisa Isaac. The Ravens have taken some swings on, these guys in the draft, but they just haven't really panned out. Oweh has gotten better. He's progressively gotten better, but he's still not at that level where they can say we can rely on him every year to get us double-digit sacks, And I think, like we said in the past show, it's not necessarily that the Ravens are getting these sacks during the games. It's when they're happening, right? It's like they're getting them on a first down. Like it's first down and 10, and it turns into first and 20, but then the penalty happens, wipes it out, and they're right back to kind of where they started, square one. It's like when the game is like it's 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4, and it's a few minutes left on the clock. Can the Ravens get that key turnover, get that key sack? And we haven't seen it for a while here now. And like, can we get that guy? Is there is Owe going to be that guy, or is do we bring in maybe a Matt Judons or Darius Smith, or like I think we said before we hopped on the pod here, does Mark Andrews potentially get traded on draft day? If somebody drafts edge rusher, I'm not saying it's going to be my boy out of Penn State. I'm not saying the Ravens are going to go ahead and get him. But if there's an edge rusher the Ravens like at 20 or something, and somebody grabs that edge rusher there, and do you trade Mark Andrews for that edge rusher? What we think happens?
Would you trade Mark Andrews in our first round pick for Micah Parsons?
Yes, I think so. I would. Now, look, I know Micah Parsons is not great in the run game. He has never been. But looking at the way the AFC North is set up right now, Nick Chubb just broke his leg again. The Steelers don't have a running game with Jaylen Warren. The Bengals, they brought back Samaje Perine or whatever, but everything's passing oriented now in the AFC North. It's set up perfectly for a guy like Micah Parsons for the Ravens. It would be perfect. I would love that. I feel like Jerry Jones would make that deal.
I think we could hide Micah Parsons in the run game too, because the one thing our edge rushers are good at is stopping the run. Mm-hmm. Like his strength is setting the edge, stopping the run. And he's a good pass rusher. He's just not an elite playmaker at that position. So he's never like, if you look at it like wide receivers, you want your star guy and you want a guy that can play off of them and make things happen when he's double teamed. Always your number 2 rusher. He's never going to be the number 1 elite Pro Bowl guy. I don't think he has that in him. But he's a guy that can get you 8 to 10 sacks a game playing off a number 1 guy. So if you go get a Micah Parsons, that's going to open it up for everyone. And like I said, you could hide him in the run game, especially when you got a Travis Jones, you got a Namdi, you got a Owe, you got an Ojabo, you got a Tavius Robinson, all people who are pretty strong in the run game. And you got my man Roquan right behind him. So you can cover him up. So it's like, if that deal presents itself, it's hard for me not to pull the trigger, especially when Andrews can be replaced by Likely. And Kolar is asking to be the number 2 tight end, because there's been nothing that this man has done wrong. He's blocked well, even though he doesn't get a lot of targets because he's blocking so much, he's blocked well. And when he's gotten targets, he's made plays. So Kolar is begging to be a number 2 tight end. So I think when you look at it, that's a hard deal to pass down. If I'm EDC, I'm getting on the phone and saying Mark Andrews and what for Micah Parsons? I am, because I think that's a move that will put us over the top. Because what are you going to be able to do when you get a playmaker pass rusher? Because we have pass rushers, but do we have a playmaker? So that's my thoughts there. I think other than that, I don't see a lot of high value trades for Mark Andrews, or players you're going to trade him for. I mean, you're probably getting a second round or a third round pick for him. It's hard to tell because the wide receivers that have been traded, there hasn't been a lot given up for him this year. So if wide receivers are getting that, what are you giving for Mark Andrews? So I think it's something where you got to package him in some picks and go get a star player.
No, yeah, I mean, especially, looking at, I've done several of these simulations already for the draft, and they have potentially 2 or 3 tight ends going in the first round. So, I mean, this is if you're gonna, and there's not just in the first round, but there's plenty of other quality tight ends in these second, third, and fourth rounds. So if the Ravens were to move on from Mark Andrews, like you said, you got Kolar already, and if you want to draft a rookie, that potentially maybe develop for a year or whatever to, eventually step up into that role later, this is the draft to do it. Like, there's that guy out of Oregon that I've seen before. I don't know if there's any, like I said, there's a Tyler Warren. I doubt where you get him. Like you said, guys, look, I would have to think that depending on what happens on draft night, I'm not saying it's going to happen on draft night, but if we've seen plenty of these players that were projected to be top 10 guys and they slide for whatever happens, teams start and drafting tackles or drafting edge rushers or whatever, and then everybody starts drafting the same thing to go get their guy now instead of the guy they actually wanted because of team need. And then certain guys just start sliding down that draft board. And if Tyler Warren were to be there for the Ravens, I think the Ravens would draft Tyler Warren there. Like, there's no reason not to. The man's probably one of the best. Considering how good Brock Bowers was last year, Tyler Warren might be just a little bit better than him. Like, watching him at
Yeah.
Penn State, just what he did there, like he could just be just a little bit better. And like I said, this is the draft to do it in. So if the Ravens are really, if EDC's really on the phone, like taking phone calls and asking around, and if Jerry Jones is, how he was lagging with Michael Parsons and not lagging with CD Lamb and Dak Prescott on their contracts. I just feel like Micah isn't going to be that kind of, I'm going to just sit back and let the cards just kind of shuffle. Micah saw the defensive end market this year. He saw Max Crosby get paid. He saw plenty Myles Garrett get paid. He's like, all right, I'm one of those dudes, so I expect to be paid next year. And I feel like because of the podcast and everything else, and everything going on with the Cowboys, just winning wise, whatever that may be, I don't think he would be silent, so to speak. He could become a distraction for Jerry.
Absolutely. I mean, if you don't go and get Micah Parsons at 27, you got to address your interior pass rush, because I think losing Michael Pierce and Namdi having a down year on sacks, and Travis Jones is more of a run game disruptor. I think you got to go get an interior guy like our guy from Oregon, Harmon. I mean, he's a pass rusher, he's a disruptor, he's a playmaker. You go there because that strengthens your defensive line, which is going to open it up for Owe and Van Noy. And that's a short-term fix that could put you over the top, but not as much as a Parsons trade. So I think first and foremost, you got to go get Parsons. Corey, I see Corey's comment about Trey Hendrickson.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think you can go get him, but the Bengals ain't sending him here. They are
I don't
not.
think we're
They're
gonna
not.
give Mark Andrews to the Bengals and that
No,
offense
no.
already.
None of that can possibly happen. All we can hope for is he gets released. Which, if they release him, they're idiots.
Yeah.
But I just think like the move there is to go see what the Cowboys want from Micah Parsons, because they don't. I mean, they have a tight end, but he's not a playmaker. He's just a guy that gets a lot of catches, but he's not like a true playmaker. And I think there's a lot of value for the Cowboys putting a Mark Andrews with the CD Lamb and giving him and giving them like a number 2 option that's a high level number 2 option, because their offense is abysmal. So I think there's something for both sides, and we gotta make that call.
Yeah, especially when you look at the Cowboys, I think they're drafting 12, and most of these mocks right now have the Cowboys taking Ashton Genty at the running back out of Boise State at their pick. But like you said, they still need a number 2 option for CD.
Mm-hmm.
Like they don't have anybody. Like they're not going to be afraid of the running back situation with like, okay, you got Ashton Genty, whatever, but you still got you're only throwing to one guy. Like we're going to double CD. They got to get somebody else to be able to take some coverage away from him. Then a guy like our Mark Andrews would be available for that. But then again, look, it may not happen. Who knows? But I just did a mock real quick just to see where the Ravens are at pick 27. And if the Ravens did nothing, they're guys that are available right now. Jalen Walker out of Georgia, he's available. Offensive tackle Josh Simmons out of Ohio State. Emeka Ibuka?
Oh, from Ohio State.
From Ohio State is available.
Yeah.
I don't think they would draft him. I don't think they need any more wide receivers right now. But there's still plenty of defensive tackles that are available. A couple unknown edge rushers. Like it's one of those things where the Ravens are picking. They've already said in this draft, there's not a lot of guys that they would consider be first round talents. Mm-hmm. It's like after pick 21, 22, after that, everybody's pretty much a pick like day 2, like round 2 and on talent. So it could, like you said, it could be out there where the Ravens are like, we'll trade our first round pick this year. And for the Cowboys, like you think the Cowboys will want that, right? Look, we'll give you 2 first round picks. You need it. You need go get you the wide receiver at Ohio State. You get Ashton Genty, and you got your wide receiver to be your number 2. Bam, there's your offense right there. Like, and we give you Mark Andrews. Like, so
Yeah.
you've helped your offense immensely, in one fell swoop, and then we get what we need with Michael Parsons. I think it could work.
And the thing is, that pick could be a lot more valuable come draft day.
Mm-hmm.
Corey was talking about, do we make a draft day trade? Well, this is the thing that's been happening. There's been some quarterbacks who were thought to be round 2 quarterbacks, who are creeping up into the top 10 picks.
Yep.
What that tells me is we may go from 4 quarterbacks taken to 6 quarterbacks taken. And you want to know what happens when 6 quarterbacks get taken? Guys slide because, one, everybody's going to copy the Philadelphia Eagles strategy of going pass rusher. And you're going to see a lot of pass rushers taken. So that means other guys are going to slide down. So because they're going to slide down, that number 27 pick becomes even more valuable because you're going to get that top talent because other guys who probably aren't as talented got picked ahead of time.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. You're right. And that's the thing. It's like I've heard people talking about Jalen Milroe. Like, he was scouted at the end of the year to be like a 4th round pick, and now they're saying he might be a 1st round pick because teams just need quarterbacks. Teams need quarterbacks, and he was okay. He ran I think he just ran his 40. I think that was his pro day, and ran like a 4.37, whatever. It looked pretty quick, but again, that's straight line speed. But I've heard, like I said, I watched him in Alabama. He stops a lot. He doesn't really commit to running in one direction. He kind of stops, try to look where he's going, and he doesn't look as fast as he needs to be, even though he ran 4.3, whatever. But yeah, like you're right. At first it was Shador, Cam Ward, and
That was Jackson Dart.
Jackson, yeah. And he was a stretch. And I was like, that's a stretch.
Mm-hmm.
But now, like you said, there's other guys that have been late. It's day 2, day 3 picks are now creeping up there. Like, oh, we need these picks because free agency is now passed, and Steelers still need a quarterback. Even though the Jets got Justin Fields, that wouldn't put it past them. They might still need another quarterback as well. The Browns, yeah. So there's still some teams that need QBs. The Dolphins, they got to look at the situation with Tua. I don't know how long that's going to go. Tyreek Hill, he still wants out. He doesn't. He's committed to, like, he doesn't really want to be there much more anymore. So there's still some moving that has to happen. So their teams could be drafted for the future, and like you said, and free agency in that first day, guys getting overpaid. Draft night, a lot of guys get overvalued. Because of need, just because they need somebody in that position. So there's opportunity there for the Ravens, where if we get to around pick 20 and there's still certain names are still on the board, and the Cowboys are looking like we could go. The Ravens are sitting right there. And Jerry, likes to take his time with Michael Parsons, and I'm like, you're gonna have to pay this man $100 million. Over 100. That's just to get to the table. Like, I'm not even talking if we're talking under $100 million about Michael Parsons, But with the way the cap, you can do avoid years and all this other stuff you can do and move stuff around, things can happen. But that also depends on Steve Bisciotti. Does Steve Bisciotti was he willing to put up some more money to bring in a Michael Parsons to get the Ravens to that next level? I think that also depends on him too.
I think you trade Mark Andrews, you get that Lamar extension, you're right in the market for Michael Parsons. That's what you need to happen.
Yeah. So I think over the next, so when is the draft? April, like mid-April. So we got about a month left until the draft. So if we start to see the Ravens are in talk with Lamar, getting some kind of extension done with him, moving some stuff around, like, okay, maybe something might be happening. So we'll keep our fingers crossed. But as of right now, we look at the AFC North, right? The Browns are in shambles. The biggest thing they did was sign Myles Garrett back to that deal, pay him all that money, whatever. And I don't want to hear. I'll say this for the Michael Miles game. I don't want to hear any player complain about I want to win. I want to go somewhere where I can win. Blah blah blah. If somebody throws $100 million at you, you ain't going nowhere. I don't care what city it's in. 100 million guaranteed. You know what? I take back everything I said. Forget about winning. 100 million guaranteed. So they didn't. The Browns are the Browns. The Bengals go ahead and his pay both T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. Some have criticized as like what an 8-year-old does in a Madden game on in free agency. Like that's something you do, like when we all played Madden for the first time and you want to keep all your star players. And then by year 2, year 3 of that contract, you're like, oh crap, I can't do anything. You go into free agency, I got negative cap space. I can't do nothing.
Yeah.
I'm $30 million under the cap. I can't do anything. Yeah. What do you? I think the assumption was, all right, you signed Jamar, like that was clear. You signed Jamar to the extension, trade T. Higgins. What do you think went through the Browns' heads? Like, oh, let's pay both of them top 10 receiver money. Let's just pay both of them.
It tells me that both of them held the team hostage. I think if Higgins didn't come back, I think Jamar was going to make a fuss, and that's what they're trying to avoid. Because there's no other logical, smart explanation unless they put some demands in there. So I think there truly was something said from Jamar where he was like, look, you re-sign my guy or I'm not coming back. Simple as that.
It was like a tandem thing. It's like, yeah, we work with a package deal kind of thing. And I think Jamar saw how badly they treated him last year, when he was looking for his deal. And they were like, nope, and all that stuff. And they were just kind of like, all right, fine. Like, we don't really want to be. That's the bad part, right? It's like both of them really don't want to be there. They clearly don't want to be there. But they're like, fine, if we're gonna be here, we're gonna make you feel it then. We're gonna hurt you in the same process. Because everybody has said, like, we saw the jokes, right? Like the meme came out, the Ravens beat the Bengals 98-97, in a regular season game. Like, it's going to be fun to watch. They're going to be putting up crazy numbers on offense. 5,000 yards, 40 touchdowns.
But I think there's also something to be said, like, look, these players have way more control, and they're looking out for each other. Like, yo, I want you to pay me, and I want you to pay my boy.
Yeah.
Simple as that, or you ain't getting either one of us.
And I think that's the benefit of star power with Jamar. Like, we've seen now for the last 3 years, there's been an argument, who's the better wide receiver? Is it Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase? I'm like, take your pick. Doesn't really matter. Like, both of them, it's like 1A, 1B for me. Like, they're equally the best receiver in the NFL. It really doesn't seem to matter which one it is at this point, Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson. Either one is the best receiver in the NFL. And Jamar Chase used that against the Bengals. They're like, we don't want to lose Jamar. But Jamar's like, I'm going to walk anyway if you don't sign T. So.
Yeah, they're putting a lot of pressure. Like, I think Joe Burrow might have had a hand in that too. It's like, look, I need both of my guys back. Because, if I don't have both of them back, it's not much else here to work with. Yeah, Chase Brown is cool, but T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, do they still got Gesicki? I mean, if they still got him, that's a nice tandem.
Yeah.
And he knows they don't got nothing to work with. I mean, they're starting Geno Smith. They don't have anything to work with on that defense. So he needs his guys. Simple as that.
Yeah, so the Bengals clearly not going to have a defense this year again. So should be some fun games though between the Ravens and the Bengals. And then the Steelers, their situation, no quarterback as of right now. Justin Fields signs with the Jets. Russell Wilson still out there. He could end up signing back with the Steelers, but he's clearly not their first option. Apparently, they're looking at Aaron Rodgers. They want Aaron Rodgers badly there. Apparently, they don't have a running game. Defense is getting older. I don't know if you saw Cam Hayward kind of came out and said,
if you want to be here, you don't.
Right. He's like,
the players don't want Rodgers there.
No.
Like, you can tell they don't want him there. Why would they want Aaron Rodgers? Like, have you not seen his last couple stops? He was a terror his last year in Green Bay. Got hurt the first year in New York, but came back last year was wildly inconsistently awful. Why would you want him? I would take Russ over him 10 times out of 10
Mhm.
because at least with Russ, you know you're going to get leadership and you know you're going to get, you know what you're going to get with him. You're going to chuck the deep ball. He may have a turnover a game, but he's going to play hard. He's going to lead the team. You know what you got with him. Resign Russ or go put some money into the draft. I mean, go put some investment into the draft or go pay Sam Darnold or somebody else some big money. I
Yeah.
mean, Aaron Rodgers, like you're just telling me you want to have a losing season so you can fire Mike Tomlin and then bring in a new coach, a new quarterback after that. You're just selling away next season, which, hey, I don't care. I want them to suck.
Yeah.
But I just don't understand the logic.
Yeah, and it's rough too for guys like what TJ Watt on that defensive side of the ball, where it's just like, you signed DK Metcalf, right? To give him $150 million contract. You got him and Pickens, but it's like you don't know who's throwing the football. It's like it's it's like you literally bought like you bought like all this like stuff for like a fancy car, right? You bought all this like nice like car wax. You bought this fancy like tire cleaner and stuff in the interior, stuff like that, and then the car gets delivered and it's a Miata. Like, wait a minute, this is not what I asked for. So you're trying to put all this nice stuff or whatever for something that doesn't deserve it, and whoever they get, to be quarterback at this point, is just, if you bring Russ there, it's like, okay, you knew what you were going to get. He's, is he going to hold up the entire season? And with DK Metcalf and Pickens, somebody's going to get upset they're not getting the ball. Somebody's going to get upset. Somebody's going to get upset with both of those attitudes, those egos they have. So trying to manage all of that. And like you said, you want to bring Aaron Rodgers with Pickens and DK Metcalf, all three of those egos. Oh man, you don't need that problem. You don't need that problem. You don't need that problem.
Because I guarantee you, DK he's gonna bucket Aaron Rodgers.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Aaron Rodgers wants to buck that at DK.
Nope. No, he'll just say, I'm done. He'll pull Antonio Brown and just take off his pads, like, I'm gonna walk out. I'm done. Yeah, good luck to y'all.
Gonna go right on home to Normani.
So you look at shout out to him getting engaged. That was to Normani. Shout out to him. So the Ravens rank, you look at the Chiefs right now, the offensive line issues they have. The defense we saw in the Super Bowl was not, definitely had some holes in it and not as stout as it used to be. They're definitely on a somewhat sort of a rebuild phase as well on both sides of the ball. Where do you see the Ravens rank right now? Do you think they're there right there with the Bills? I think right now, if they were to rank them right now, I think it would be like the Bills, Ravens, Chiefs right now. Or is it the Ravens, Bills, Chiefs?
Look, I think the media is going to still put the Chiefs number one.
Oh yeah, they're still with the Chiefs up there in front.
But if I was to put it, I would say right now, Bills, Ravens. Man, yeah, I guess it would have to be the Chiefs because who else has made moves to really improve? I haven't seen it, so I would say Ravens, Bills, Chiefs. I think we made the moves that we had to make, and I think we're in a good position. But I think the Bills have made a little bit more moves. So for us, where we rank and end up being is going to be totally dependent on the draft. I think that's what's going to make the difference. If we can draft well or make another big move with the Andrews trade we're talking about, that'll really put us to number one. But I think outside of that, I think the Bills had a better offseason. But I don't think that makes them a better team than us in the long run. But I think right now on paper they look like the better team.
Yeah, and I think for the Ravens, this is going to be my thing all year. It's not a talent issue with this team. It's just like in those moments where they can't make that mistake or they can't, they got to have it, and it just seems like in the playoffs it's eluded them. Like it's just those moments where it's like, of course this happened. Lamar fumbles the ball right there. He tries to Lamar trying to make a play, puts the ball on the ground, slips and fumbles, and Guy takes it back for 6 touchdown, and Mark Andrews trying to make a move that he normally doesn't make in the middle of the field and gets the ball stripped away from him and drops a pass right in the stomach, for a 2-point conversion to tie the game. So it's the moments for this team in the playoffs. It's not that they can't win these games and get to the Super Bowl. It's just they're coming down to these moments, right? And it's one of those now as a Ravens fan. I'm just hoping, like, I would love for the Ravens just go into an AFC Championship game or something, just blow a team out, beat them by 25. Like, stop letting it come down to these critical moments where they're kind of like they're playing tight. They're not playing loose. They're just in their own heads and things like that. And I'm hoping maybe guys like Chuck Pagano, who's been there before, they brought him back on the staff. I know he's a defensive guy, but kind of helping the guys on the offensive side of the ball as well, Todd Monken and them, prepare mentally for these playoff situations, how to deal and all that kind of stuff. So having him in the building, I would hope maybe helps, going down the line. I don't know if Lamar, has any mentors, quarterback wise, that he kind of talks to, but maybe him, tapping into those guys, just to get his mind right, for the playoffs. What do you need to be, and I think that's the other thing too. Look, it feels like Lamar in those situations in the playoffs, right? It's he doesn't play like himself. You can tell, like, oh, he's getting nervous. You can tell he's thinking too much now. Instead of we saw, what was it, that Texans game, the Steelers game, I think the Bills game where we played him or whatever, and that stretch that we played, like Thanksgiving, Christmas, whatever. He was going off. Like, he was doing whatever. He was being free, he was being loose, he was doing whatever. Lamar was just making throws in tight windows and throws that you've never seen Lamar make before. And it's just like, we're waiting to see in the playoffs. Yeah, I think it's gonna happen. Everybody keeps saying, is Lamar gonna do it? Is Lamar gonna do it? It was like that for Jalen Hurts for a while until he finally did it. Right? Once he's done it, and he's had that feeling and he's gotten past that moment. When everybody knows when you've hit that hill, right? That hill you've been really hard to climb, feels like you keep sliding back down the hill. Once you get over that hill, you don't have to worry about getting over it again. You need not to. You can do it now. You can get over it. So I think once he gets over that hill, I think that's just going to make that much, much sweeter. And then, if Mark Andrews is still on this team, and it's him and Mark, and they have a critical moment in the playoffs, I would love to for them to have that moment that we did it together, man. We did it together. Like, we climbed that hill together. I would love to see them have that moment if he's still here.
Yeah, I think. Like you said, it's not talent. I think it comes down to coaching. I think it comes down to making plays. When I think about quarterbacks who took a while to win a Super Bowl or win in the playoffs, it typically has come down to other people helping them get there.
Mm-hmm.
I think back to Peyton Manning, he was really driven by that defense and those pass rushers with Dwight Freeney. Even when he went to Denver, he was carried by the defense.
Yeah.
Tom Brady winning his Super Bowl, he was carried by the playmakers around him several times. He made plays, but those things that changed the course of the playoffs or critical games, there were other people. So I think the thing for us is others stepping down and taking the burden off of Lamar, so he's not having to be Superman. I think we've said that year after year after year, but we need it from the defensive standpoint. We need guys to, not make the plays they've been making in the playoffs. We talk about Mark Andrews, Zay Flowers. You just need guys to step up and be dominant that aren't Lamar Jackson. And I think that's going to make the difference for us. So I think, as we're building up through the rest of the offseason, it's really clear that we need a couple more playmakers because we can't keep relying on Superman. We need playmakers to step up from different areas.
Yeah, take an example for the recent Super Bowl. Look at that Eagles defense. I know Jalen won the Super Bowl MVP and everything, but that real MVP was that Eagles defense. Pick six by 3 picks, I think, that Pat Mahomes threw uncharacteristically making in that game. The front four for that defensive line for the Eagles getting pressure without having to blitz. When you have that kind of help on the other side of the ball, and I think we said that before, it's the the Ravens, what they struggled with during the season was getting takeaways, and it showed up in the playoffs against the Bills. And the Bills were able to get takeaways, and the Ravens couldn't. If the Ravens can get takeaways in these playoff games, shorten the field for Lamar, take the pressure off of him. Like, remember in that Steelers game right before the end of the season, Lamar throws a pick to Minka Fitzpatrick. We're like, oh, here we go. And then 2 plays later, Russell Wilson throws a pick 6 to Marlon Humphrey. Right back. Defense gets it right back, takes it for a touchdown. The Ravens we got to see that. We got to see if we start seeing that wild card or divisional round, they start getting some turnovers and takeaways and stuff like that. I think this Ravens team can do something. But
yeah, agree.
I think that's it from us. Anything else?
Hey man, can we talk about Lamar Jackson about to make his acting debut?
Yeah,
on Raising
just saw
Kanan,
that.
part of
Yeah,
the Power
going
Series.
on Power, getting the acting chops.
Yeah, I wonder. Look, you think Lamar catches a body, or do you think he's the body that
or Lamar gets Lamar's he's the one that ends up in the river? I don't know. I'm not sure what part he's playing in this. I'm gonna have to watch.
Oh, he's somebody's muscle. He's with a short temper. So
okay. we'll see. We'll see how that pans out. But also shout out to Coach Plummer, who passed away. JV coach for Woodlawn football for many years. Great head. He was one of my favorite coaches. And it was also baseball coach. People don't remember that as well. It was baseball coach there as well. So we sorely missed, and to the Plummer family and the Warrior family as well. So
yeah. He Coach Plummer actually coached my dad in football and baseball in high school.
Oh man.
So like getting a chance to play for him was huge. And you know, he was a no frills, pretty direct kind of guy, but he loved his players. Like he truly loved us. Like, and you don't see a lot of coaches like that. So yeah, he will be missed. That was a rough one. That was definitely a rough one.
He was definitely like, on the practice field. He was tough. But I mean, even after practice, if you needed to talk to him about something, he would talk to you. Like he would give you an ear. Like, what do you need to talk about? What you want? What you want?
Yeah. Oh, and big shout out to one of our former teammates, James Gamble, the new head football coach at Woodlawn.
All right.
It's about time. People have been saying they wanted him to come be the head coach at Woodlawn, and he finally got the job. So well deserved. And he's already rallying the alumni, former players to come back. There are a lot of former Warriors out here coaching local teams, seeing success. So we may see him rally everybody to come back home and bring success that hasn't been seen since we were there.
Yeah. So, that was for people that don't follow Maryland basketball. I don't know if you follow Maryland basketball. Apparently, there's some rumors going around that Willard might be going to Villanova. He addressed it apparently yesterday. That he didn't have enough confidence in the athletic director that was, I guess, getting ready to leave for another gig. Basically said that I need to see the investment from the school, that we want this program to be, top notch. So I think he said he's basically like he's gotten he's got some interest from Villanova, which is for him would be a huge, like, Villanova is over the last 5 to 10 years has been one of the best programs of basketball. I wouldn't knock him for taking it, but I'm pretty sure Maryland basketball would love to keep him here, especially what he's done with the program this year. So,
it's crazy. Maryland basketball has stayed pretty relevant and ranked over the years, with some outlier years, of course, but there's been no investment from the school. But the football team, who's been mediocre since Ralph Friedland left, is getting a lot of money. I mean, they got fancy facilities, so much money invested into them, but yet they're mediocre. But you see a winning team who has the potential to be a sleeper Final Four team this year.
Maryland can,
is getting no investment.
Derek Queen and them, you're right. Yeah, this team could be in the Final Four for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
We saw how they I'm kind of surprised they didn't win the Big Ten. It came down to a controversial bucket or whatever by Michigan. But losing Willard would hurt Maryland basketball big time if they lose him. So, and the fact that he's been willing to tap into the NIL market. There's a lot of coaches that are still real hesitant about tapping into the NIL market, and he's like, "Nah, we want to bring the best talent here and potentially try to win a national title. That's what we're going to have to do." And that's how they got Derek Queen there. So, and he's going to be a lottery pick, in this upcoming NBA draft. So, Maryland, do your job and keep that moving. I did like the fact that he called. He looked right before a game and said, "Look, I want to stay here, but I need y'all to commit that y'all want to win."
Show me some love. Show me some love.
Bring an AD in here that's going to work with me, that we can bring in the talent to go win if you want us to win.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, that's it from us. Unless anything big happens, you won't hear from us maybe until maybe a week before the draft. Things start kind of shaking out. We kind of get more an idea of where the Ravens are going to be, who they're going to be picking, and where they could. We'll probably have maybe more of a detail about like certain players and guys maybe we would like for the Ravens to go ahead and select in the draft. So
yeah.
All right. That's it from us. We'll catch you guys next time. Peace.